I'm Jeff Stewart, licensed marriage and family therapist and the host of this podcast, From Crisis to Connection.
If your husband is in recovery, my hope is that he would be honest about it. If your husband isn't in recovery and isn't honest about it, but then you do find out that he was acting out, hey, my gut was right. I don't need to think that, I can't believe it. I don't need to think that whatever my husband is telling me is truth. I can be able to be okay with having that discomfort of knowing what my gut is telling me versus what my husband is telling me, and then the truth in that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I love that. I love the idea that, that it's acting on that gut feeling. And some women would say, they feel like God is prompting them, or they're having just a reflex internally, or something environmentally doesn't feel right, or their own just sense of morality or whatever it is. Something just doesn't, almost like a sixth sense or whatever, doesn't feel right.
Yep.
But so many times when you've been betrayed, and when you've, again, ignored those, and you've broken trust with yourself and not honored that, the way out of that is to start just acting on it. And you might be wrong. And I love what you're saying. Like, you might be wrong. It may not be correct, but you're learning to figure out what that feels like. And you're kind of calibrating that dial back in.
Yeah.
Instead of just being passive about it, or totally, inactive with it, and then never really knowing if it could have been true or not. And you stay in that, probably on that hamster wheel of doubt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I feel like when we do stay there, when we stay in that, just like that middle ground of like, oh, I don't know what's happening, you kind of go crazy a little bit, right? You have this like cycle in your mind, the spiral in your mind of like, okay, I think this is what's happening, but I'm not sure if that's what's happening. I don't know if I want to believe that, so I'm just not going to do anything. And that doesn't help you, right? There's no help in that for recovery. That's just allowing you to stay still. And you're not going to build trust in yourself that way either.
Yeah. I love that. I love that permission to just to act on it. And I like the example that you gave of, you don't need to come out guns a-blazing and saying, I know what this is, and, just accuse and attack. It's really about being able to say to the other person, like, taking ownership of your experience. I'm having this experience, I'm feeling this thing, and I need to check it with you. And of course, that gives them a chance to come out of hiding or be honest and confirm that. And if they don't confirm it as true, but it really is true, then that's actually really good feedback for you, that your feelers were right on. So either way, you're going to learn, whether you're hot, cold, or whatever, but like, you're going to learn something from it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Taking action.
Absolutely. So my husband has been sober for quite some time, and I still now and then get these little triggers of like, oh, I think something's not right. And so I'm able to come to him and just be like, hey, David, this is how I'm feeling. I'm not blaming you. I'm not accusing you. This is where I'm at. And I'm not sure what triggered that feeling, but I need to ask you what's happening. And then he will tangibly show me that everything is on the up and up. And then I'm like, okay. Mm-hmm. Now I know that it was just like me having a little trigger. Yep. We're all good. You can tell me truth. I can own my own truth and really know that it is real truth, and go from there and learn to trust my gut even more.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and obviously, like, learning to trust yourself is something that you can initiate and start on your own, just by observing and, like you said, taking action and giving yourself permission. But it really does go better if you're in a relationship with somebody you're trying to, if they're working with you.
Yes.
But either way, even if they're working against you, and maybe I should correct my point here. Even if they're working against you and lying, and you discover that, then you're still able to restore trust in yourself, right? Either way, it's almost like you can't lose if you start taking action. You're gonna figure out what's real and not real, where the passivity prevents that. Thanks for stopping by and watching this little clip of my podcast interview. If you want to catch the full episode with this guest, you can click on the link below. It'll take you to my podcast and you can listen to the whole thing. Once again, I appreciate your support. I've got lots of other episodes you can check out as well, and I'd love to hear what you think about it.